well, I don't know what to say. I really don't. G'day YouTube, Digger29, back with you again, and I am very surprised. very surprised. What you see before you is the draft for the other league that I'm a part of. I don't know if I told you about, but you should know. It's called the PFC, Pokemon Fight Club. So this is basically almost like, this is basically like the PPWC. It's almost like a PPWC D League, only I'm a part of it, so I guess not really. And also Aiden and Connor are a part of it. But you know, we just sort of make a cool other league, and it's got some pretty groovy people. And we've got Travis, Ryan, Adam, Aiden, myself, Nick, Tom, and Connor. I will explain the draft once again to you cool cats, as well as also talking about my favourite pick from each team. Basically, I think the best all-round pick, the best offensive pick, the best defensive pick, and the worst pick, as well as a dark horse. So you know, you get a lot of variety there. So you get four basic things, and I'll also summarize my team. And I'm honestly over the moon with my team, by the way. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but anyway, we're just gonna go through this, and then also I'll make my predictions for who's gonna finish where. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, okay? So anyway, kicking things off, we have Travis of the Austrian Agrons. So he had first pick in the entire draft. He didn't know that he had first pick in the entire draft, but anyway, he chose Sylveon, because he's JYT Gamer, apparently. He also got Breloom and Crawdaunt, as well as Arcanine, Mega Aggron, Reuniclus, which, you know, I'm not going to read out his team. You can clearly see what his team is on the screen, so I don't think I need to bother reading it out. I think that his choices of Breloom and Crawdaunt are fantastic. He's always been a battler that's kind of looked outside the box for really good offensive threats in this format, and I think actually those are two extremely good offensive threats in this format. My phone keeps going off because I sent people messages an hour ago, and I thought, okay, nobody's going to respond to me, I might as well start my recording now. And now they start messaging me. It's freaking karma, bro. Anyway, Breloom and Crawdaunt are very terrifying. I think that overall his best pick, looking at the balance of his team, I think it's Reuniclus, to be honest. I think Reuniclus is a very good all-round Pokemon, and in this format it is a fantastic Pokemon, so definitely one that I can see being very good for him. His best offensive pick, I'm going to say Crawdaunt. I really am. Crawdaunt is an absolute savage. Adaptability, it can run Choice Band, Dragon Dance. It's a very dangerous Pokemon. Adding to that, defensively, it's a tie really for me. I really think it's between Aggron and Sylveon. They make a fantastic core, so I'm going to say both of them together. The Aggron-Sylveon core is a force to be reckoned with. With Aggron having Filter, and Arcanine basically resisting a lot of stuff, and he has counters everything, it's going to be very strong. And it's definitely a really nice core. That is a very good one to build a team around, so I think he can use that very well. When it comes to his Dark Horse pick, I'm going to say Golurk. I think Golurk's going to surprise a few people. It is a very strong Pokemon in this format. I think it can really surprise, and so I'm definitely keen to see how it works. Worst pick is between Mantine and Braviary. I think Mantine kind of serves a bit more of a purpose, as well as having the Water Absorb, which is always nice. And also pairs nicely with Electros if need be. So I'm actually going to say Braviary. Again, this is the second draft where I've given Braviary flack. I think in this format, Braviary is not that great. I don't see people using it that well. It's kind of a poor man's Staraptor, to be honest. And I think that, you know, he could have probably picked a bit better with that pick of the draft. But, you know, that's just how I feel, man. If not that, maybe Piloswine, but I don't mind Piloswine. Anyway, we move on to Ryan of the San Diego Charge Beams. He was actually in another league that some of the guys from PPWC were part of, and he is a class guy. I'll add everybody's links in the description, as always, to their channels. He will upload some solid videos for you guys to enjoy. Anyway, he had a fantastic draft, as you can see. I don't know how well you can see that in the light, but I'm sure you can read it out pretty solidly. I don't think it's that bad. I think that definitely his best pick, you have to say Mew. Like, there's no reason why you don't say that Mew is not his best pick. There's no way that you can say to me that it's not his best choice. I think that it's definitely going to be the most versatile thing on his team, and it's going to be terrifying to deal with. Best offensive mon, I can't go past Mega Diancie. I mean, Hydreigon's higher up there, but I think Hydreigon's going to be his MVP. I think Mega Diancie is freaking terrifying. on the offensive end, because it's Rock and Fairy, which are two very underrated types, and that don't have that much. Obviously, Steel types you think would wall him, but he does learn HP Fire and the Earth Power. So definitely Diancie is going to be a big issue for teams, especially since, you know, not everybody can run Scissor with Bullet Punch. So, you know, there's that. I think defensive-wise, I have to think his best defensive pick, and this might surprise a few people, I genuinely think it's going to be a Scavalier. I think people sleep on a Scavalier a lot. It is a fantastic defensive wall, and it has probably one of, that's right, cool. One of the best defensive typings that you will see in a Pokemon. I genuinely think is going to be very surprising. When it comes to his Dark Horse, oh, I should mention also, I think he redrafted Ordino into Miltank. I don't know why that hasn't been updated on here, but yeah. I think his underrated pick is probably going to be Emboar. That thing hits like a freaking truck and can blow through teams. So it's definitely a really solid pick on Ryan's end. I think, you know, when it comes to picking his worst Pokemon, that's the toughest job, because he has got a fantastic balance going on. I know you're going to scream out at me and say it's got to be Leavanny, but Leavanny does a really good job for his team here. And so that kind of makes me not want to pick it. This is really tough, because it's either going to be Leavanny or Miltank. I'm going to say... Actually, to be honest, I'm actually going to say Lantern. For the fact that, don't get me wrong, Lantern is great. It's a great Pokemon. But when you look at his team, he already had Thundurus Incarnate, and he drafted Jellicent just before it. So I don't really understand why he picked up Lantern then, because he already had the type coverage. He could have maybe got a bit more type coverage into his team, maybe chucked in Lilligant over Leavanny, or, you know, something like that, and then he could have ran like something else with the Sticky Webs. Or he could have chucked in, like, what's a type that he doesn't really have? Just cover most of his types. Maybe more solid fighting type down in RU, so maybe like your Hitmonlees and whatnot he could have picked up. But I don't know, I just think that Lantern in itself wasn't his best pick there. Because he also, well, he didn't have the first pick of that tier. But when you look at all the other stuff below that was taken that he could have taken, I think he missed out on a lot of opportunities there. But that's just my opinion, Ryan. Like, honestly, you drafted phenomenally, man. It was really hard to pick out a bad pick. It's just that's how I felt. Moving on to Adam, Kansas Schooners. He's always been a big rival of mine. We always enjoy a good bit of banter as well. I do respect him as a battler, like a ton. His team is interesting this season. I don't know. It's kind of like Jack in the PPWC. I think he could have drafted better. And he just hasn't this time around. But, you know, each to their own, I suppose. I think that his best pick overall, looking through his team, I have to say it's Clef. In this format, Clef is pretty awesome. Its ability to set up a lot of things and to run a variety of like hidden powers and that to kind of work to its advantage. For example, if someone has the Heatran, like Aiden does, then you can run the HP Ground to be able to deal with that. And if somebody has the Sizzle, or, you know, like me with the Skarmory, you can run the HP Fire as an option. So it's definitely, he has a lot of ways to deal with certain threats. I think his best offensive pick, you would have to be crazy not to go past Mega Lopunny there. Take it from a guy who drafted it. It's a very, very strong offensive Pokemon. Definitely one you need to watch out for, especially in this kind of format where it can blow apart teams with its variety of movesets. So definitely one to watch out for there. Defensively wise, Milotic has to be. It has to be his pick there. Very, very strong in this format, and definitely something I know that Adam can use exceptionally well. And its defensive ability, especially on this team, I think is going to be very important, although we'll see. We'll see. I think his Dark Horse on his team, see, this is just my opinion, remember, but I genuinely think people are really going to underestimate Garbodor. Now, I've used Garbodor in the past, and trust me, this thing is good. You can run it defensively. I used a Garbodor to wall a Mega Lopunny. I've used it before. It works. You can also run it with the Spikes and T-Spikes, which is fantastic for his team because he has a solid spin blocker in Dusclops, and he can punish the default users because he has the Raikou, so he can get good initiative that way. But also he can explode with Garbodor against some other Pokemon, and that can give him a bit of an advantage too. So there's definitely a lot of options with Garbodor, as well as you can run it offensively, but I think the ability to set up a lot of hazards, and when you look at people's hazard removal, it might not be as strong. I think it's definitely a smart thing for Adam to have on his team. I don't know if he would use it that way, but I think it's definitely an option for him. Moving on, we have the Manitoba Manaphy's, which is Aiden, the Canadian Supremo. he has a pretty scary team. Definitely some really cool picks on this team. I'd have to say his best pick, I'm gonna go with Zapdos. You think I'd say Mega Bro, pardon me, but I genuinely think that Zapdos is the strongest pick here. In this format, Zapdos is a very strong Mon. You can run it offensively and defensively, and it definitely has a lot of variety that it can run. I think that's a very important thing about it. When you come to an offensive Pokemon, his best offensive Pokemon, it's either Krook or Tauros. And that's a tough one because he actually has a very passive team. Now when I say passive, I basically mean that, you know, he's not going to be running hyper offense week in, week out like, you know, somebody such as Travis might do. You know, he's got more of a team that can take a lot of hits and just wear your opponent down. Obviously Empoleon can be offensive and other Pokemon can be offensive, but the way that he will play is a bit more passive, which is good because it is a fantastic playstyle. There's nothing wrong with it. I think that, you know, his best defensive Mon is probably his Mandibuzz. I think Mandibuzz plus Zapdos is a pretty neat little combo. The only thing I really worry about is Fairy types, but then he brings Empoleon and Heatran to the party and he's pretty much set. Also, Mandibuzz pairs very, very nicely with Mega Slowbro, countering the Psychic and Dark weaknesses that Slowbro have. And then Crocodile can also shut down those. Crocodile and Slowbro actually pair fantastically together, and the only Grass-type weakness they have can be mitigated by Mandy, Heatran, or Zapdos. So Aiden has drafted very well to cover his big plays that he can make. When I look at maybe his dark horse for his team, I really think it's going to be the Vileplume, because Vileplume can be very strong offensively and can run some great moves, and I think it's definitely going to be a Pokemon that he'll seriously be able to put in some good work with. So I'm definitely excited for that. Now, you're going to think straight away, oh, he's just going to have a go at Fracture, being Aiden's worst pick. I don't mind Fracture. I honestly think Zweilous would have been better. It's like when I think Connor got Dragonair. I think that Zweilous would have been a better pick there. But that being said, when I look at Aiden's team, I honestly think that his worst pick, and he's gonna hate this, your worst pick is Empoleon. And I'm gonna be honest with you as to why. The reason why Empoleon is not your best pick is because you had Gastrodon that came in. You have Heatran, so you already have your Steel and Water types covered, and they actually make a pretty ridiculous core, basically by themselves. So Empoleon there was a bit of a throwaway pick. I think that he could have definitely picked up something a bit better in that spot. Obviously he'll disagree and say, you know, I don't know anything, but that's just my opinion, bro. When you think about it, when you look at his team, Empoleon doesn't really fit when you already have Gastrodon and Heatran and Mega Bro in the team. It just, you know, it's just too many water types, and I think if you're going to get rid of a water type, I'd get rid of Empoleon. But that's just me. Speaking of me, Tampa Bay Frogadiers are back again, boys. I can't believe I got away with this draft. You might think Pizza and Glaceon, they're shit picks. I got plans. My first 11 picks I didn't think I'd be able to get. I basically exactly knew I wanted them, and I got every single one of them, and I was like, okay, so reasons behind the picks. Manaphy. Do I need to explain why Manaphy is a good pick in this competition? I don't think I do. Thank you for your time. Skarmory, fantastic defensive Mon, can definitely set up the spikes, get rid of the spikes, has a control supreme, love it. Hooper Unbound, because who doesn't love a broken Mon in this game? Infernape was because I wanted a good solid attacker that could U-turn and do shenanigans and whatnot. Florges, because I wanted a solid Wish Passer, and also I needed a good Fairy type. Mega Ampharos, because Volt Switching is fantastic, and it's probably one of the bulkier picks for my team. Pairs near perfectly with Skarmory as well, so I definitely wanted to take advantage of that. Moongus, because I needed a Grass type, and also it counted as a Poison type, and it is a fantastic regenerator, pairs really nicely with my Manaphy, which I definitely wanted to take advantage of, as well as pairing pretty nicely with Mega Ampharos, if I do say so myself. Cofagrigus, because I needed a Ground type, I needed a Ghost type, in case Skarm's getting up spikes and my opponent might just have a Rapid Spinner, such as Tom's team, which basically requires another Defog from Honchkrow, or the Espeon to stop me from setting up the hazard, so there's always those options, I guess. I chose Exploud because I wanted another strong hitter on my team, and Specs Exploud is still one of my favourite things to use. Quag is because Quag is freaking obnoxious and annoying, and let's see Adam's freaking Clefable and Haxorus beat me. Then the last two picks were kind of my contentious ones. I think my dark horse this season is going to be Pinsir. Pinsir, just in its regular form, has base 125 attack. So running a Scarf or a Band, I can actually blow through a lot of my opponent's teams, and by having Moxie, it can be really handy to break down a lot of the walls, especially since there aren't really that many Intimidate mons around. I don't really need to run Hypercutter either. So Pinsir could be a very, very scary mon for my opponents to deal with. I want to say that my worst pick is Glaceon, just because I didn't really have any other thing I wanted. I kind of wanted the Ice typing, so that's why I went with Glaceon, but I could have gone with like Aurorus if I really wanted to, but I didn't think Aurorus was as good. Plus, Glaceon does have base 130 special attack, so I know it's my worst pick, but you know, I guess I could bring it a few times. Ice is a very hard type to deal with. My best offensive pick, I really want to say is Hooper Unbound, because show me your switching, and then I'll give you my answer. Defensively speaking, I think Mega Ampharos is going to put in the most work. If not him, it has to be Skarmory. I think just those two as a core is my favorite defensive pick, but I think my overall best pick this season, and I'm going to be really honest with you, looking at all of my opponents and the teams that they have, I really feel that my best pick is Exploud. The reason being is that I'm looking through everybody's teams, and I see they've all got a Steel type, right? And that's fine, but you can see that my team doesn't give a shit about Steel types. So if I weaken their Steel types down, Exploud just clicks Choice Specs, Boom Burst, and everything dies. I don't even need to set up like Sticky Webs or any crap like that. Exploud is a very dangerous Pokemon to deal with, and I think if people don't prepare for it, they're just going to get blown away. Okay, we're almost done, guys. We're getting there. We got Nick of the Evergrande Electivires. Oh, his name just sounds so good. Anyway, he's got a really cool team. I really like Mega Sableye plus Bishop in this kind of format. Basically, it means that your opponent can't Rapid Spin on you, and they'll get punished if they defog on you. So I think it's a really wicked combo. The downside to that combo is that Nick has not drafted a Pokemon that can set up spikes. I think that was a really big flaw on his part. I think he does have a redraft that he can do, and I would highly recommend, Nick, if you get this message before your first battle, that you should seriously redraft either Swellow or something else into a Pokemon that can set up spikes. Because by doing that, you'll be able to have a pretty nifty little thing there where if they try and get rid of all the hazards with their spinner, they can't get past Mega Sableye. If they try and get rid of them all with a defogger, they're going to run into a freaking Bishop, and that's just not cool. A +2 Bishop is not cool at all. Who keeps sending me messages? I'll talk to you in a second. I'm almost done. I love this shirt, by the way. It's like a nice little party shirt. Anyway, I just think if he had a Spike, that'd be better. That's why I think that his worst pick is Swellow, because I think you could have picked a Spikemon down in that tier. I'm pretty sure there's a few that you could run down there, like even Crustle would be good for this team. So definitely something to consider, Nick. I'm not saying you should do it, I'm just saying it would be a very good option for you, especially since you're running Mega Sableye plus Bishop, but that's just my 2 cents on it. I think his best offensive pick, honestly, is going to be Entei. Banning Entei is terrifying, man. I don't want to deal with it, especially when it's adamant all the time. The pain is too real. Defensively speaking, I'm going to say Slowbro of Mega Sableye, just because Slowbro on this format with Regenerator is a very, very good mon, and a very dangerous one to have to deal with, so I definitely think that's his best mon. I think his underrated mon, kind of his dark horse, I'm going to say Slurpuff, because I think Slurpuff is at least going to get one Belly Drum sweep, and if nobody is prepared for it, that is going to get blown back, so, you know, there's always that to worry about. I think that his worst pick, like I said, is probably Swellow. He can redraft it into something that can set up spikes, and that'll be a lot better for him in the long run, in my opinion. Then we come to my boy Tom of the Arizona Rattatas, good old Tommy Tomastar. He has a really interesting team. It's different, and I like that. I really do. Best pick is Megavenu, man. Hands down, hands down. You can't look past Megavenu and not say that's his best pick by a freaking country mile. It is a fantastic mon in this format, and the fact that his first 3 picks were basically cancer, like, that's going to be an annoying core to break down, well and truly. I don't know how we're going to do it, but people are going to have to find a way if they want to beat Tom. And he's actually backed it up by not only having the defense of Donphan, but he's also packed in some really cool sweeping possibilities. He has Swift Swim on Omastar and Armaldo, which means he can actually set up the rain and have Rotom hitting like all of its thunders. A powered up Hydro is very terrifying. The other thing is he has Espeon to block hazards, and he also has the Jolteon, which is a fantastic offensive mon. And don't count out Haunter, which can be a very effective mon if used correctly. So I think that Tom has a lot of good options. Worst pick, I'm going to say it's probably... It's either Raticate or Armaldo. Reason is that Raticate, I don't mind, because I know that's like something he really likes. The reason why Armaldo is because he already has Durant. So why does he need 2 bug types? He could have just picked a solid rock type down there and say like Rhydon. I think that might have been a better pick for his team. Another defensive mon that actually pairs incredibly well with Mega Venusaur. I definitely would have recommended that pick for Tom over the Armaldo, but it is Tom's choice, so I'm not going to try and fight him on it. But I do think Tom has a really cool team. Best offensive mon, I would say, is Jolteon, because Specs Volt, which is annoying. Best defensive mon is Chansey, because... Chansey. Hate it. But Tom loves it. And the underdog kind of pick, the one you won't expect, I'm going to say Honchkrow. It's going to surprise a few people. I don't think people are going to be able to deal with it as well as I think they will. I'm fidgeting because I'm really tired and I just want to lie down and take this off and just chill. Not Netflix and chill, just chill. Anyway, finishing off, we have Connor of the San Diego Simisages. He had some really cool picks. I do really like Connor's creativity. He's kind of like Travis. They're both very creative with the picks that they go for. I think his best pick overall, honestly, is probably Serperior. I think Serperior has the ability to really break through teams and can be very annoying to deal with, since contrary is to broken ability, and the fact that it outspeeds like base 100s like Manaphy and all that can make it a very annoying thing to deal with. Most definitely. Offensive, his best pick, I would say it is probably Conkeldurr. Again, Conkeldurr is a very scary Pokemon to deal with. For a lot of teams, you don't really want to burn it because Guts could be a thing, but also it could be Sheer Force, and you can just blow back some of your walls. So definitely a scary mon to be dealing with, and I know that people are going to have to play careful around it, or else it's going to wreck. When it comes to his best defensive mon, I can't really look past I can't look past Umbreon as his best there. It is a fantastic Wish Pass and also just a really solid defensive mon. His underdog pick, I would really have to say Flygon. I think Flygon is a very underrated dragon type. Eventually we'll get a Mega, but I think it's very underrated in this format, and it will put in a lot of work for him, and I can't wait to see what he can do with it. His worst pick, gee, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Drapion. He already has a great Poison type and Weezing with Levitate, and he has Umbreon. Drapion wasn't a necessary pick for him, and it was his first RU, so I think he could have really picked a lot smarter at that point. When you look at all the things that went after he picked Drapion, I think he could have picked a lot smarter. No offense to you, Connor, you are a good battler, bro. It's just, you had the first pick of RU, and that's what you went with. That's kind of what surprised me, that was all. No, he didn't have the first pick of RU, I'm dumb. I'm dumb dilly dum dum. But that's fine. I think he could have probably picked better there, but that's just my opinion. Anyway guys, that is going to wrap up basically my summary of the teams. How do I feel they're going to go? Honestly, if I'm going to give a quite honest ranking super quick, I'm going to say Travis is 8th, Connor is 7th, Tom is 6th, Nick is 5th, Aiden is 4th, Ryan's 3rd, and then Adam and I are somewhere near the top. Just that's how I feel based on teams and history. But then again, I really don't know. I think I like the unpredictability of it. I don't really like rating myself that high. It's just that I have experience, and I think I have a really good team. But you know what? These battles can be very unpredictable, so we'll see what happens. But fingers crossed. I think that, you know, I honestly don't know who's going to win this one. And that's what I love about it. You know, like, other leagues, people can be very unsure about it. But, you know, I am really excited to see how this one turns out. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you smash out the like button. Really appreciate... Why is that? Smash out the like. Smash out that like button. Really appreciate it as well. Let me know if you like it when my camera's kind of facing this way, if you can see more of me and my surroundings and whatnot. I don't know, just whatever floats your boat, I suppose. And also make sure you go check out everybody else's channels that I'll link in the description. And if you want to see some more cool stuff from PokePals, you got to comment and let us know, because there's no other way we're going to know, guys. I don't really want to do the straw poll thing because that's kind of stupid, but you know, let me know what you guys kind of want. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Get keen for a season of the PFC and the PPWC at the same time, so you get double hype, double battles all the time. It's Duga29, signing.